It is my pleasure to welcome Kiran Rao to Showbiz India and to Los Angeles. You're looking wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you, Reshma. Lovely to be here.
So I saw Laapata Ladies, Lost Ladies, when it first came out.
Oh, yeah?
And I loved the film. Very nice. Especially I'm from Jaipur, Rajasthan, and I can totally relate to the gungat and how that can happen. And it was just so funny but so beautiful. How did you approach this film?
So the story itself was so dramatic that honestly, I decided to approach the film very honestly because it's satire to begin with. There's so much humor in it. At the same time, while we're talking about all these issues, we wanted it to be quite a personal story of these two girls and their journey. We wanted it to be light and funny so that all the sort of statements, all the kind of themes that we wanted to touch upon are addressed through plot, through situations rather than, big dialogues. So actually I approached it in a very realistic, honest kind of way.
So how important is it for you as a filmmaker and social responsibility to make films that have purpose and meaning behind it?
Honestly, I take it as a privilege to be able to make films at all. I'm really lucky to be in a position to have the skill and the network and the sort of support that I've had to make films. And I really feel the desire, I don't say responsibility because it doesn't weigh heavy on me at all. I feel actually quite excited with the power I have to speak to a lot of people, and I enjoy doing it. So I don't see the point of actually making films unless we in some way are able to contribute to a conversation about what we as a society face. I feel like it's something as an artist I do quite naturally.
How much of your female lens do you wear when you're directing a film?
I don't know if I have a female lens. I have a very personal lens. I think being a woman gives you a certain perspective, and every woman's perspective is different. Intersectionality is so important in all art. So I come from certain privilege as a woman who's had a English education in a country where a lot of women just don't have the opportunities that I've had. So actually, I think I approach things from my point of view, having lived in a country as complex as India is, but still being on the on the side where I've actually had so much support, so much encouragement from my parents to my partner to all the people I've worked with. So I think it's not only as a woman, because I feel I've had more opportunities than some of the men I know, So yeah, I think innately, of course, I respond to things as a woman. I think that gives it a certain perspective. All women bring a certain unique perspective to what they do.
As a filmmaker, how would you, or how did you, or did you at all, approach a film like Dhobigat and Lost Ladies differently or similarly?
That's a really interesting question. Actually, Dhobigat was such a personal film. I approached it very much because I also wrote that. I approached it a little bit more with the point of view of trying to make it a little more within its art house space, more accessible, but it was intrinsically quite an art house film. But Lost Ladies, I did the absolute opposite. I knew that I wanted to speak to a much bigger audience. I made the film to speak to a big audience. And so in terms of like the hats that I wore, I really knew that comedy would be a great way to do it. I worked on the script with my writers to really amplify that. And I really worked with music particularly.
Any favorite memories of this film?
Well, every single part of this journey has been full of twists and turns. We started writing during COVID, the first lockdown, casting during the second, shooting during Omicron. We've had every possible adventure along the way. So I think the best actually moment was when we finally did our premiere at TIFF, and we were showing it to an international audience, and we had no idea how people would receive it from all over the world. And it was such a wonderful reception at TIFF that I think that's when I felt, okay, we made a film that works.
So, Bollywood, Indian cinema has become a global phenomena. And now they're watching your film and making an assumption about India
Mhm.
and, you know, its identity. How important is that for you as a filmmaker to make sure that identity of India is a positive one?
Um, I think all of us who make films from India, which is a huge subcontinent, we have so many different languages and forms and styles of filmmaking. I think our only responsibility is to be able to make films that are good, that are honest to the material, that showcase our country in all its color and all its texture, and its problems, but also its glories. So I feel the more honest we are to our own craft and to our own stories, we represent our country most truly. We do have such a wealth of different kinds of films, and I'm really proud and happy to be able to be representing my country on a global stage.
And what do you think is about this film? Because this film is so much about rural India
Mm.
that international audiences have been able to relate to it.
I think while the film is really very culturally in some way specific, it's set in a village, two girls in a very rural landscape, the themes that we talk about are fairly global. I've found that they resonate with audiences everywhere because the women's autonomy, women's agency, their financial independence, the space they have within, say, the constructs of marriage, these issues actually to different degrees affect women everywhere, and I think affect men as well, and that's something we wanted to show through this film, the male allyship, how important it is for us to work, both genders to work
Nice.
towards a common future, so I think that's the reason people respond to it, because it's a human story.
What would you like the audiences to take away from this film?
I think what I would really like is for people to sort of be more kind to each other, to accept themselves, accept each other more, to create more, especially women. I would say create space for yourself. Make yourself a priority in your life. It's as important as your family, if not more, that you are happy. And I would really say, I hope that people take away that there is hope at the end of what looks like a very, very dark kind of phase, maybe the world's going through. I feel that there's still hope, there's optimism, there's lots of good things and good people out there in the world.
As an admirer of your work, in behalf of all of us in South Asians here, I do hope you get the Oscar nod. Do you
Oh.
think about that moment?
I do actually. I mean, who doesn't? And I'd say it's, of course, started long before this film's journey. As I've grown up watching the Oscars, it would be a dream come true, of course. But yeah, I'm really happy that we've got so far and that people are loving the film. So I'm delighted.
So just a few rapid fire questions, just
Sure.
to make it a little fun, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
A filmmaker that you admire the most?
Oh wow, is it rapid fire? Does it have to be alive, a filmmaker who's living? Well, I really like Vetrimaran. He's makes quite dark films, but yeah.
Your favorite film of all time?
I would say Princess Mononoke.
And a genre you'd like to explore next?
Horror.
Your go-to comfort food?
Food. Oh, rasam rice.
One word to describe Lost Ladies?
I hope warm. Healing and warm and hopeful.
It was such a pleasure talking to you, Kiran.
Thank
We
you.
wish you
Reshma.
continued success.
Thanks so much.